All right, so I am going to work today on a transfer that is Live Life in Flip-Flops. You can't really see it because it's covered up, but you'll see it when it comes out. I've got the rest of my chalks already mixed, but I wanted to touch on, I don't know if you guys can see, this green is really thick right now. This was one of the retired colors that came in some of the tag-along packs. And so just a little bit of water makes it so you can stir it up. So when I first opened this, it was super, super thick. And, you know, if you've watched any other chalk Couture, you know by now that we want it the consistency of yogurt. So you just added a little water, let it sit, added a little water, stirred it up until we got much closer and to a much better consistency. So if you've got some of those tag-along packs that are out right now with some of the retired colors, or you're getting retired colors some other way, just know that they do come a little bit drier, but it's pretty easy to reconstitute them. And you can see now we've got like a nice, it's that same consistency as the other pastes. So that is handled. All right. So I have fixed up all 4 of my colors that I'm going to use. And fair warning, this is the first time I have done any of this with layers. So I've done a couple where I've done one color per piece. This is the first time I've done any where I am layering it. And I am realizing that this camera is way out of focus. So we're going to see if we can get it. There we go. It looks like it focused now. Okay, so this is this transfer, this Live Life in Flip-Flops. Anyone who knows me personally knows I do live life in flip-flops. I am not a fan of shoes. So, and these are just baby wipes. My 2 toddlers managed to get into a couple packs of them and pull them out and scatter them all over the floor. So I figured why not? I would just toss those into a Ziploc to use for this instead of throwing them away. So I am just taking the transfer off the backing, and I don't really need to label this one because the shape of it's pretty obvious. I'm going to go ahead and fuzz it on a dish towel. Now I probably should be using a fuzzier dish towel, but this seemed to work fine with my last couple transfers, so we're just going to go with it. And we're just going to stick it down a couple times. Those of you that are in the Cricut world, which I think is a lot of the chalk Couture world now, it's similar to what you might do with like transfer tape to keep it from being too sticky. So we're just going to stick it down a couple times, and we're just doing it so that when we peel it off, it doesn't stretch out the transfer because these are reusable. So now we're just going to put it on the board, and you'll see that this has like a funky cutout shape. And that is, it came as one big transfer with the flip-flop pieces that you'll see. And so it has little cut lines. You cut the cut lines and then you're good to go. So my thought with this is that I'm going to kind of hot mess the words, and then the sets of flip-flops are going to be more your strategic layering colors. So so you can see them. There is a basic flip-flop, a polka dot flip-flop, a zigzags, chevrons, and then this is the other layer that could go on any or all of those to give them a sole and the thong part. So those are going to go in these same colors after we've chalked this main part. So I'm going to start with sort of that hot mess canvas appeal that so many people are using with canvas and vinyl and paint right now. And so I'm just going to put some dabs of it, just kind of scatter it. And I'm not using a ton, but I'm using a good amount. And I'm just gonna dab on some of all my different colors, kind of making sure I've got, you know, like not all the lime green together. This is aquamarine, which is also a retired color. It's not that far off from the Couture teal that's popular and out right now. And this white, the white is another one that's pretty thick. And I just use a little bit of white just because I like the way it kind of mixes in with the other colors. It kind of gives them some more shades of color more than anything. So some people at this point will do it with their squeegee. Some people will do it with their finger. I've sort of found that just starting to make a little bit of circles and starting to blend some of the colors into each other kind of helps me start to see it, and then I will squeegee it after that. But this kind of just seems to blend them better for me. And then if there's a spot where I realize I don't have enough, I can always use what's on my other fingers. So you may be noticing that this is a messier version, right? So by doing this hot mess kind of concept, I now have paste all over my hands. But baby wipes to the rescue. And if you have kiddos around that waste baby wipes anyway, great use of your wasted baby wipes. So this does dry a little quickly. It's not going to dry that quickly right now because we have it on so thick. But what we will do is go ahead and grab another wipe so that we're ready to clean it off. And we will just scrape off the excess. So if we had done just all one color, we would have been able to save this and put it back in the jar. But since we mixed them together, we're not going to save it. But we are going to go ahead and take the excess off just so it doesn't run all over the place. And while we're doing that, we're kind of blending the colors across a little bit again. Some people will start with this and not do the circles first, and that's fine too. You figure out what works for you. And you'll notice I got it a little bit off the transfer over here. That's okay. We will wipe it up before we chalk the flip-flops on. And there's another thick piece right here. I'm going to go ahead and try and get off also. Okay. So, and you will want to wash your transfers pretty quickly. So we are going to peel this up. This is kind of the reveal moment. So it doesn't look all that fantastic right now. But when you watch as we peel it up, it does create a really neat effect. So I really like this hot mess concept that's kind of popular right now on the canvas side. And I think it's great on this. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video and rinse this transfer. All right, so we're back. I've already rinsed that transfer and it is in the kitchen drying. But I didn't want to do this off screen. I just wanted you to see. You can see where I got a little bit off the transfer. It just comes up very easily. Same thing. We're just using a baby wipe and wiping off that excess. So if there's a mistake, very easy. And you could also use it to erase the entire board if you decided you didn't like the way it turned out. So I'm just going to give you a quick zoom in on it real quick where you can sort of see all those colors. So we're going to use those same colors, obviously, in our flip-flops that we're going to put on. So bear with me because this is the first time I've done any of this layering. So this could be interesting. So, all right. So same thing. We've got our transfers. We're going to take it off. So I am going to do our chevrons. So if it's going to be over the top of some of this other chalk, you want to make sure that it's nice and dry. It looks like that is. And I am going to go ahead and fuzz these because, again, it's the first time I've used it. I don't want to stretch them out. And they're going on top of some other chalk on the edges, so I don't want it to mess them up. So another thing, see how this one just kind of rolled over on itself? I wasn't being very careful. I am trying to just peel it. If it had not just peeled right off like that, you could get it wet. It would peel off, let it dry, then it'll be ready to use. All right. So we've got chevron flip-flops, which I'm going to put right there. You just want to make sure it's pressed down really well. It keeps you from having any leaking. And then I think I'm going to do these guys. These solid guys over here. And I think I'm going to try and do another layer with these and put the polka dots on top of these. And we'll see if that works. So, okay. So we've got those two, which are both going to be the first layer. They're both going to have another layer on top of them. So we are going to do, I'm going to go pink on the solid because I'm going to put some white polka dots on him. And so these little applicators that I'm choosing to use to stir it up, they're just basic disposable makeup applicators. And then I'm going to use this aquamarine on this other flip-flop. And I just use it to stir because they're easy to stir it with. They're durable. And then since they're already dirty, I'm using them to apply. But then we will use our Couture squeegee. And this is what I was talking about a minute ago, since it's just one color on each of these. After I get it all over, I can then soak up the excess, make sure I get that corner, and put it right back in the jar. And then make sure I wipe it off really well before I do another color. Or have multiple squeegees out, which is probably the smarter way to do it. But again, we're just gonna get it all over. And then this one I definitely have some excess on. To get off and put in that. So you're really using very little of your paste if you're taking the excess off. So it does seem a little wasteful to do that hot mess version, but I think the effect's really cool. All right, here we go. There's our chevron flip-flops. And I'm gonna put them on this baby wipe to keep them. And then here's the other ones. Fantastic, those are really cool. Those are a little bit smeary, but I think it's okay. I think that was my fault. I didn't put the paste on very evenly, and I probably let it dry too much. So after those layers dry, we are going to put, I think I'm going to put the polka dots on top of the pink and the bottoms on top of the feet. But I want those layers to be good and dry. So here's where we are so far. And the color and the light is not great in here, but you can see what we're doing. And I think I'm going to go ahead and yeah, those are still a little wet. So we'll go ahead and pause and rinse that transfer and then do it again. All right, so I'm back, and I did want to just touch another option if you're not wanting to pause and let stuff dry, or if you're going live, or you're just impatient. A hairdryer is another great option to dry layers in between. Honestly, I don't want to run the hairdryer because my toddlers are sleeping, and I feel like as soon as I turn on the hairdryer, they would wake up. So again, we're fuzzing a transfer. This is, you should be used to this by now. Nothing all that exciting. And we're gonna layer it on this. So the key here is just kind of lining everything up is your biggest trick, right? And you can see because of the mesh in the transfer, it's pretty easy to see if you're lined up. So we will see. So that one is lined up. This one's still a little bit wet, but we're going to give it a go. We're going to try and polka dot that and see how that works for us. Worst case, if it doesn't work, we wipe it off and redo the flip-flops. Not the end of the world. So this board, in case anybody is curious, is not a Couture board, but our product works great on other boards or our own boards. This was just a cute design, a cute angle, and one that I've been sort of experimenting with, trying to figure out something that would fit well on it. And so this, I'm just trying to get it lined up. This one's a little trickier than the last one just because you can't trying to line up the shape and the pattern a little bit. All right, so we're gonna give that a go. See how that one works out for us. So this is, again, we're gonna do the white on that side for some polka dots. And that white is still a little thicker than it could be, but it's fine. And then I'm gonna do lime green for the soles and thong of the chevron ones. And as you can see, since I've left this paste out, it's thickening up a little bit. So if you ever over water your paste, that's very easy to just leave it out and let it dry up. So, all right, we're going to do the white first, since we put it on first, get all those polka dots and get the excess off. And I can tell that it wasn't totally dry because I'm picking up a little bit of pink in that, but that's okay. It's all right. It probably also wasn't perfectly lined up. Then on the lime green, and this is actually lime. All right, so I think that last one cut off a little bit, but I just wanted to give you a quick view that this one is now complete. Let's see if we can get a good zoom in on that so you can see. So you can see I messed up the L just a little bit with that extra transfer. So give us another video and we will show you how easy that is to fix. But I'm really happy with the way that hot mess kind of appeal came up on the words. Not so sure I love the polka dots, but that set of flip-flops is really cute. We may erase those flip-flops with the polka dots. So there you go.